The movie opens with a shot of a deer getting attacked with an alien tentacle. In the next scene, we are introduced to Harry and Ruth. The couple are driving through the forest and listening to music. They stop at a restaurant called Bigfoot's Shack for lunch. As they are eating, they are interrupted by a little kid who is shaking with fear. He asks them if they have seen the red star come down from the sky. He then gets called by his mother and leaves. Harry and Ruth reach the Red Ridge Trail. Harry parks his car and the two discuss their plan. Harry likes to hike and camp, so he has brought Ruth to share this experience. But Ruth has a phobia of forests. She fears she will get attacked by wild animals. Harry comforts her and points out she likes to surf, which is technically more dangerous than what they are about to do now. As they start walking through the forest, Ruth feels that someone or something is watching her, but when she turns around, there is nothing. The couple set up camp, eat dinner, and go to sleep for the night. Ruth wakes up in the middle of the night, uncomfortable in her tent. She goes out to get some fresh air. Suddenly she hears something moving, and then she sees the deer from the opening of the movie staring at her. Harry then touches her from the back, which scares her. She shows him the deer, and Harry tells her not to worry about it. The next morning, the couple leave their tent for more exploration of the forest, and after some long walking, Harry brings her to a hill that overlooks the ocean. The view is gorgeous, and as Ruth is admiring it, a nervous Harry starts talking. He tells her how much he loves her and how much his life changed after he met her. He then kneels down on one knee and takes out his grandma's ring. Harry is asking Ruth to marry him, but suddenly, Ruth starts having a panic attack, and she quickly takes her medication. After she calms down, Ruth tells Harry that she is sorry and refuses his proposal. She tells him it's not because of him, and she tries to explain that she doesn't like the idea of Mirage, but Harry cuts her off and tells her it's okay. The couple return to their tent later that night, and they are both quiet. Ruth tries to initiate a conversation and explain herself, but Harry accuses her of not dealing with her parents' divorce. He tells her the reason she doesn't want to get married is not because she just doesn't want to, but because she fears she will become like her parents, who were in a very toxic relationship. This pisses Ruth off, and the conversation blows into a full-on fight, and with no resolution found, Harry just stands up and leaves the conversation. The next morning, Ruth wakes up alone and finds a note left by Harry telling her he went for a walk to clear his mind. Ruth then takes out her phone and tries to call her therapist. There is no signal around the camp though, so she goes further down and finally gets a signal. But when the receptionist picks up the phone, she gets scared and ends the call. Ruth then sees a black substance on a tree, and when she gets close, she finds the deer dead with its head cut in half and covered with the same black substance. Ruth is freaked out by what she's seeing, but just at that moment Harry finds her. She shows him the deer and tells him this is the same deer she saw the night before, but he dismisses her concerns and tells her this can't possibly be the same deer as this body has mostly decomposed now. The couple return to their camp at night, and they finally have a civil conversation about the Mirage. Ruth explains her fear and tells Harry she does love him. She then asks him if that is enough, and he responds yes. The next morning, Ruth leaves the camp alone to go for a walk, and as she is strolling around, she finds beautiful yellow roses. She picks one to give to Harry, but before she leaves, she sees a blue gooey substance on the ground. She follows the trail of the goo to a nearby cave and enters it. She then finds a pool of it. She is disgusted by it as she tries to figure out what it is. She then turns to see something that truly shocks her. 30 minutes later, Harry leaves the tent to look for her. He finds her standing in the middle of the forest. She tells him she just got distracted thinking about stuff. Later that day, we see the couple hiking, but Ruth is not acting normal. She follows Harry with caution, but when he turns to look at her, she smiles, and in the middle of the night, she again leaves her tent. Harry again looks for her when he finds her missing. She is not around the tent, so he goes deeper to the forest and finds Ruth holding a knife. Ruth is scared, and she tells him that she heard an animal voice. Harry then comforts her, and they return to the tent, but he now also seems concerned about what she is hearing. Ruth doesn't sleep all night, and she continues her weird silence in the morning too. She then tells Harry that she has been thinking about his proposal. She tells him that she was scared of becoming her parents, but now she is not scared anymore. She tells Harry she wants to marry him, which makes him super happy, but she does tell him he will have to do the proposal again, so they travel back to the hill. Harry then kneels down on one knee and proposes again, and this time she says yes. The couple then kiss, but just when everything seems great, Ruth tells Harry that she loves him. She then hits him on the nuts and pushes him off the hill, and Harry's body splatters on a rock. Ruth runs and runs, but before she leaves the forest, she gets lightheaded and falls to the ground. Ruth is then found by other hikers, Viv and Ray. They wake her up and give her some water. They then ask her what happened, but she tells them she doesn't remember anything. They bring her to their tent and give her some food. They still don't know anything about her, so Viv decides to talk to her. She asks Ruth if she came to the forest alone and where her tent is, but she doesn't respond. Then suddenly they hear Harry's voice. Ruth gets freaked out and she tells them to run away. They don't understand why though, and Viv asks her who the man is, but Ruth just gets up and runs runs away. Harry, who is not dead at all, comes to the tent. He finds Ray alone and asks him where Ruth is. Ray then asks him who he is, and he gets his answer when Harry brings out a blade from inside his body and kills Ray, revealing to us Ray is the alien that we saw attack the deer. Deep in the forest, Ruth is hiding. Viv finds her and asks her why she is running from the guy. Ruth then tells her that the guy is not Harry, but suddenly they hear Ray's voice. Viv then runs towards the voice, but alien Harry was waiting for her and kills her. He is now alone with Ruth, and he asks her how she knew. We are then shown what Ruth saw in the cave. It is revealed that the alien had already killed Harry, and that Ruth saw the dead Harry in the cave covered in the black stuff. This alien can turn into the things it kills if he covers them with the black stuff and uses his tentacle to transfer not just their look, but their whole DNA and psychological makeup. The alien is disappointed for being sloppy, and he accidentally reveals he is just a scout studying the planet and reporting back to his superiors. He then says goodbye to Ruth and brings out his blade to kill her, but he can't bring himself to do it. The alien realizes he has also embodied the emotions and memories of the real Harry, meaning he is in love with Ruth. Love is a purely human emotion, so he is a little confused by it, but he is also excited. He loudly announces that he loves Ruth and tells her that he had decided not to hurt her, but Ruth just runs away. The alien is too fast for her though, and he catches up to her quickly. Ruth then picks up a stick and tries to fight him off, but that doesn't work either. He then tells her he wants to show her something, and they go to the beach together. He then reveals to her his ship and tells her that he wants to take her away. He reveals to her that the rest of the aliens are coming soon and they will take over and kill everything, so he wants to save her and take her away from here. Ruth agrees to his offer and they kiss, but Ruth just wanted to grab his knife and she stabs him with it. She then runs into the ocean and he chases after her, but just when he gets close, his blood attracts a shark and he gets eaten by one. Ruth then makes it out of the ocean and she runs back to Viv's camp. She finds some food and water, which she desperately needed, but out of nowhere she gets another panic attack. She has only one pill which she takes and calms down a little, but the alien appears before her and grabs her with his tentacle. He then knocks her out and she wakes up in the cave, covered in the black stuff, and the alien has attached his tentacle to her body. The alien is disappointed by her, and he reveals that he has figured out how to get her love, which is by taking her form and experiencing who she is. The alien then fully turns into her and grins with happiness. The alien then announces that he has no more need for Ruth and goes to kill her, but Ruth stops her by talking about her fears. Ruth tells her that she is not lovable and will die alone, which starts a panic attack in the alien. Ruth throws every insult she can muster, which also reveals to us how much she hates herself. She sees herself as worthless and fears being her parents, which is why she always pushes people away. The rush of emotions is too much for the alien, and it starts to beg for Ruth to stop. The alien then falls to the ground, which gives Ruth the opportunity to take control. Ruth then picks up a rock and bashes the head of the alien until it is fully destroyed. She then runs out, and this time she doesn't stop until she reaches her car. She immediately gets into her car and starts driving away. She puts on the radio and starts listening to fun music, but suddenly the radio changes to the voice of the alien. He tells her that she can't run away from him. Ruth then shuts off the radio and speeds up her car, but in the background we see thousands of alien ships entering the Earth's atmosphere. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.